Hey coders, in this video we're going to download Xcode and start to look at the interface as well as look at the template that I've provided for you to complete assignments in this class. I'm going to click on Course Modules. Below Module 0, you'll see that I have put together a bunch of resources for you. I hope you'll explore all of them, but the two resources we're going to talk about today are this link to download Apple's Xcode Integrated Development Environment, or IDE. You're going to hear IDE a lot as you program more and more. And we're going to talk about this template, the Art61 basic template that I've created for you to do almost all of your projects in this class. When you click, it'll ask you to open a new window and take you to the Mac App Store. Here's where you'll download Xcode. It takes a long time, so devote a lot of time for that download and installation. And if it asks you to install additional components, say yes, you will need everything. So after that, close out, go back. We're going to download the Art61 basic template. This is a zip file. It's going to download to wherever you download to. Mine downloads to my desktop. I'm going to double click. I'm going to open it up. So here is the basic sort of what a project looks like in Xcode. These are all the files. All of these files are required for this Xcode project to work. You can't copy this file independently or this file independently. You need everything. So that's an important lesson that all of my students learn at some point during the class. The thing that I'd like to say here that's the most important for you to remember is never open the blue file. This blue file, if you open it, it will break your project. Always open the white file. Now, if you accidentally break the template by opening the blue file, it's okay. It didn't destroy your code. It just means you have to download the template. If you had been writing code or whatever, you can just copy it into a fresh version of the template. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this white file. And it's going to give you a warning. I'm going to say, that's okay. And here we are in Xcode. So it can seem a little bit overwhelming when you open it up at first. There's a lot going on, and this program is extremely powerful. I have a handy little diagram here that will show you kind of what we are looking at. So you can see at the top, there's a toolbar. There's a play button and a stop button, and that's to play your program in the simulator or on your device. You can connect an iPhone or an iPad to your computer to play natively on the device. There's also a navigator area, an editor area, and a utility area. These buttons up here on the far upper right-hand corner are to hide. This button will hide the navigator. This button will hide, there's a console area that's hidden right now. And this button will hide the utility area. And that's basically it. It's going to take a little bit of time for you to get used to this environment, but just stick with it and you'll become more and more familiar as time goes on. So I'm going to open up my file structure and show you basically kind of how to get to the goods in your template. So you go open it up, Art61 basic template, and then there's a folder called Art61 basic template, and that has all of your coding files. Anytime you see a .swift file, that is a coding file. And if I open up workspace.swift, you'll see some of the code. Workspace.swift is the file that you will use the most. It's where basically all of your code will be. And inside you can see there's a header. You'll want to replace this header with the one that I provide in all the assignments and put your name and information on there. This is so I can identify you. And then there's imports. This is all the code that we're going to be using. You have to tell Xcode, we're going to be using C4. We're going to be using UIKit. UIKit is for iOS development. And then you'll see class workspace, override func setup. And then inside of here, this is where we are going to start coding. So it's fairly straightforward. There are just a lot of steps. And I want to make sure you have all the basics down before we start. Now, one thing I didn't mention was how I got this color scheme. Your color scheme may look different. So what I'm going to do is go to the Xcode drop-down menu, go to Preferences, and go to Fonts and Colors, and you'll see there are multiple themes. And you can see that it changes every time I move around. So my favorite is Midnight. It has a kind of retro feel that I get into. I also feel like the black background is less difficult, less hard on my eyes. So that's kind of where I go. But you will figure out on your own what you like. And since you're going to be spending some time in this window, it's good to get it looking the way that you want. Now, if I wanted to hide some areas of the window to just look at code, I can go in upper right-hand corner and do that. So, and now I'm just looking at code. If I wanted to go back to that navigator, all I have to do is do that. So that's the basic interface, and that's the template. If you start to get errors, reach out to me on the QA, but I'm just going to run it once. So in order to run it, you have a lot of different simulators up here in this button. If you had a device connected, it would show up here, and then all of your simulators are here. What I tend to do is I use the phone that I have. So I have an iPhone 7 Plus, trusty iPhone 7 Plus, and so I use that. And then you click play. The play button will launch the simulator, and you'll see it'll take a little time. The first time you compile, it may take a long time, and you may see errors pop up. If you see errors pop up, as long as they're yellow errors, you don't have to worry. If they're a red error, then you have to worry. And the most common red error at first is that error where you've accidentally opened up the blue file. And so what I would do in that case is just re-download the template, open up the white file, and try to hit play again and see if it works. And then you can copy and paste your code into that new template. So once you start seeing, so this is the console area down here. Once you start seeing some of this stuff come up, these are messages from the compiler and from the runtime, you know that your program is running. So it's just white here, it's a blank canvas, which makes sense since there's no code in here where it says write your code here. But that means that we have successfully launched the template. So that's basically it. And in the next video, we'll start to get into some of the code and how to use the examples from the C4 website. See you there.